All right, peeps. So I got on just a touch early so that y'all get notified, and then we'll go over the plan I have to talk about. Plus, I have 3 bonus things. That a client who has lost over 60 pounds since January, they aren't able to get on Facebook or have Facebook or do a live. All right, there we go. Sorry. What day is today? It is Sunday, Dave. All right. Hey, Mike. There was connectivity issues, so I think I came in and out. So typically what I do is I wait a couple minutes before to get people on. But Jeff, who has lost 60 pounds since January, had 3 questions. So before I get to what I was going to talk about, I'm going to answer his 3 questions because I do think it is it's relevant. So I'm glad you're doing well, Mike. The first question you had is, I'm reading where you should eat before or right after you take protein shakes with protein powder. Theory is it's better absorbed. So basically what the question is, hey, Randy, all the way from Maryland. But anyway, the question is when you take a protein shake, to not only take the protein shake, but also hey Keegan, but also consume and eat food with it. And the idea being is if you have your protein shake and food, your body is going to absorb the protein powder more efficiently. Hey April, and here's the thing. Yes, that's 100% true. So when you have a protein shake and you actually eat food with it, hey Jason, hey all. So Jason, I actually met in Korea when I taught English in Korea. But anyway, whole other topic. So when you consume protein and you eat food, yes, it's going to make your body absorb the protein more efficiently and better. But you're kind of splitting hairs here. So regardless whether you're trying to lose weight, which the vast majority of people in this group are trying to do, not everybody, is spend the bulk, like that shouldn't be your biggest concern. Is should I consume food with my protein shake or without my protein shake? Your biggest concern should be, 1, am I in a caloric deficit? And 2, am I hitting my protein numbers? Now, assuming you've got that mastered and you are a beast at hitting you're not going over your calories and hitting your protein number, then you can get into the minutia that's going to have a fraction of a result. It's like we're splitting hairs here. So is it best if you consume food with your protein shake? Yes. But we're talking of a fraction of a percent as far as it improving the way you look, the way you feel, and how you perform in the gym. Okay? So can you do it? Yes. Is it beneficial? Yes. What is optimal even is not having to have a protein shake. Most of us need it because it's hard to hit our protein numbers without it. So if you want to be optimal, eat whole foods. Ideally in the form of animal protein. I know not super popular right now, but it's nonetheless true. And not even having to use the protein shake is optimal. Do I use protein powder? Yes. But in a perfect world, I wouldn't have to, right? Or we wouldn't have to. We get it from Whole Foods. Now, his second question was, I take creatine for my workout. Should I be taking it on my non-exercise day? Hey, Scott, Todd, yes. Creatine is really, besides protein powder, the only thing the supplement industry has ever created or made that is actually really beneficial and it's stood the test of time. It improves your performance. And here's the recent studies say with creatine too, is it also improves our organ function. Okay. It kind of like slows down the aging process of our organs, which is huge. And then most recently with creatine, it's shown to enhance our cognitive performance. So yes, consume that too. Consume creatine every stinking day, 5 milligrams. You don't blow lots of money on creatine. They're going to try to remarket it, repurpose, and make it seem all fancy, like you need the micronized, you need this, you need that. The creatine, the simple creatine monohydrate that you get on Amazon or the Vitamin Shop or wherever it is, that is going to be just as beneficial, and it's super, super cheap. So there's no reason why not to consume creatine, okay? Now, the caveat with that is liquid creatine is not very stable. So if they're trying to sell you liquid creatine, it has to be super expensive, but the benefit is not extra, except it's not going to be grainy when you take it. So just get the normal creatine as the take. And yes, consume it every day. Hey, Valerie. All right. And then 3, his third question was, hey, Andrea, is I'm going to start doubling up my protein content. Each shake, instead of 30 grams, I'm going to go up to 60. And I think that'll help me reach my goals of 190 a day, easier than trying to accommodate with other protein sources. All right. So essentially what his question is, in the context here is, instead of just having one serving of the suggested, which is 30 grams, I'm going to do 2 scoops. Is that okay? Yes. It's completely fine to have double scoops of a protein powder and drink it. That's like, think of it this way. It's a supplement, so I get the suggested serving amount, is his concern. If a restaurant serves you a 3-ounce chicken breast, all right, and you want to eat 2 of those, are you going to be like, oh, no, I shouldn't. That's bad for me. It might be dangerous. No, okay? It's just an extra serving of food, okay? So if you need to consume 2 scoops of protein powder to hit your protein goal, do it. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? I recently started using Paleo Valley, 100% grass-fed like collagen, which is bone marrow protein, and it is unbelievably good. I don't get paid to say that at all. 100% awesome. I put it in my coffee so it absorbs in water, and my wife just grabbed it to me. This stuff right here. So, and I think you can only buy it off their website. But I put that 1 scoop of this in my coffee. Collagen, the protein in this, is good for your skin, your ligaments, and your joints. And it makes it turn into a mocha. Like, I can't say, like, I have been consuming protein powder for a very, 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 very long time. By far the best tasting. Now, here's the thing. It is not cheap. This little bag of 30 servings, it has 30 servings, and it's only 13 grams per serving. And you're looking at basically, this little bag cost me $56. However, super delicious. Like if you need something after you eat lunch or in the afternoon as a little pick-me-up with your coffee, I put it in my coffee and it was like a mocha. Highly recommend. That was not planned, but 100% recommend, okay? Now, on to the topics of today. So that was the intro. Jeff had some questions, and now we'll jump into it. So the first topic is crushing your workouts, okay? And so my question is for y'all, when you think of crushing your workout, what does that mean? What does that look like? What does that feel like? For most of us, and this is so, and I made this error, honestly, up until about 2 or 3 years ago. My idea of crushing my workout was meant I needed to go in there and just blast myself. I needed to go hard. I needed to go heavy. I needed to make it so that I had to like limp and claw my way out of the gym. If I wasn't doing that, I did not give it my all. I was lifting to failure almost every stinking rep. I was doing drop sets. I was doing supersets. I was running the rack. I was doing everything that the bodybuilders who are enhanced were doing. And I was wondering, man, I'm always hurt. I'm always injured. I'm not making any progressions. And this was before jiu-jitsu. Okay. So the idea being that you need to just destroy yourself when you work out is not the way to do it. It's not enjoyable and it's not sustainable long-term for most people, okay? I enjoyed it, the whole blood and guts theory, right? But it's not sustainable long-term. So the things you're going to get, that leads for most people is overtraining. And here it's a mindset thing. Most of us, when we train, just like when we apply life, is more is better. The harder I go, the harder I work, the more I do, the more hours I put in, the better results I'm going to get. But here's the thing. You might get away with it, okay? But is it optimal? No. Most of us, to get optimal results, our work volume, how much weight we use, how many repetitions we do, it needs to be less. And the analogy that I always like to use with this that seems to hit home for most people is when you go to the beach and you get a really bad sunburn, that breaks down your body, your skin. When you work out, you get into a catabolic state. It breaks down your body. What do you do to recover? Do you go out the next day and stink and go out in the sun without any protection, without a shirt, without sunscreen? No, you rest and recover. And in the same way, that's how we need to think about training, and specifically strength training. So like Metcons, just getting tired for the sake of getting tired, beating yourself down. Those kind of workouts make you feel like you got a good workout, but are they leading to true strength gains? Because at the end of the day, if you're not getting progressively stronger, you're not increasing your muscle mass and you're not increasing your metabolism, which is the name of the game when it comes to weight loss, okay? And just remember, like, fitness is a marathon requiring balance and consistency, okay? So if you can't balance it, if you can't be consistent, it doesn't matter how hard and heavy you go. it's just going to wear you down. So strength training, you should feel better than when you originally went into the gym. You should be like a little bit taxed, but you should be okay. You should feel okay, because that puts you, that you're in a catabolic state when you work out. And then after your workout, you go into an anabolic state with rest and recovery. Okay. Like the day after you get a sunburn, chill. Okay. All right, so that is my take on what does crushing your workouts mean. Before, like I said, it meant destroying myself. Now, I only work out 2 or 3 times a week for 30 minutes, 45 minutes tops, and then I focus on rest and recovery. And I've gotten way better results. That's optimal for most people, including myself, versus everyday hard and heavy. And it's hard for us to understand that because we're used to more is better. All right, that's a synopsis. Now, moving on to the second thing I want to talk about is owning the outcome. All right, so remember, your fitness journey is yours and yours alone. And it's important to fully commit and believe in your ability to achieve it. And the other side of that is a lot of people approach their journey with a victim mentality. Okay, meaning they blame their circumstances, they blame the people in their lives, they blame where, like, their environment, where they're at, the kids, all these things that maybe they can't even control, and that is a victim mentality. And I'm saying this out of a place of love. So you want to own your results. Okay, you can't control everything that's coming at you and what's happening. You can just control how you respond to the diversity that's in your life. And some people are going to have a lot more diversity than others. Okay, but the way to approach that isn't from a victim mentality. It's like, this is the difficult situation. These are my barriers. These are my obstacles. What can I do to overcome those? Even just having that mindset versus, oh my word, I'm just overwhelmed, all this crap is happening, and just throw up your arms. That's not going to get you to where you want to go. But recognizing these obstacles and the diversity that is hitting you, and having the mindset of, okay, this is the diversity, and kind of detaching yourself and looking yourself as like from a third party, as a coach, and be like, how can I coach myself? How can I get through this? Even if nothing else changes, but you just have that mindset shift, it will be transformative, not just in your weight loss and in your fitness training, but in your complete life. Okay, I learned this. I mean, for better or for worse, having had a pretty difficult life, in the sense of, I had to move at the age of 8 from the U.S., got planted in Brazil, got thrown into a Portuguese, didn't know any Portuguese, had to learn on the go. And so I've always been, like, from the age of, I believe, 10 until I was, I think, 19, I never lived more than a year and a half in the same spot. So I was constantly, like, having to adapt and having to change. And through God's grace, He gave me that mindset of, okay, this is the situation I'm in. How can I make this the most fruitful opportunity? This is not something that I was innately born with, but it's a gift that I really think God gave me. And that mindset has empowered me to lose the weight from 308 pounds. And that same power can transform you as well. That mindset shift. I always say this if you know me, obstacles are opportunities. Okay? And I really believe that. So if there are obstacles, if there's diversity in your life, what can you do to reframe it? How can those obstacles become opportunities? And if you do that, I promise that you're going to have the results you get in life, in fitness, weight loss, business, whatever, are going to dramatically improve. Okay? So I just want to encourage you in that. Now, and if you feel comfortable, I would love it if you could share some of the adversity and obstacles that you faced or are facing, and maybe there's other people who could overcome. Hey, Dylan, speaking of adversity and overcoming, Dylan is a prime example of what that looks like. Maybe someday in the near future when he isn't so scared about coming on lives, he will be with me and he can talk about his journey. Because when back in the day, if you guys are clients with us or you've seen his picture on the wall, he lost like 80 pounds. He has had a very hard road and he's battled a lot of things. And he has come a far, 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 far way from where he originally was. And it's that mindset. He went from having that victim mentality to these are the obstacles that are in my life. How can I overcome? And that was not planned, but Dylan, thanks for popping on, man. All right. Hey, Valerie. Now, let's talk about eating protein at every meal, okay? So I went, and I'm going to do a story, and then I'm going to lead into this. So on, I think it was Wednesday, I went and met with Kathleen Be Well. And she is a nutritionist, and she has one of the only, these machines are the only machines that are FDA approved to actually diagnose what your actual metabolic rate is, your resting metabolic rate or your BMR, your base metabolic rate. And what you do is like you go into her office, and they plug your nose, they put this pipe in your mouth, and you have to breathe for 10 minutes. Just normally sit in a chair into this machine, okay? And this machine is basically measure, and you have to do it fasted, you have to do it first thing in the morning, so on and so forth. Okay, and it tells you what your resting metabolic rate is, right? And the great thing about this, if you actually know what your resting metabolic rate is, then you know to gain weight, I need to consume this many calories. To lose weight, I need to consume this many calories, okay? I know this data because I have been tracking my numbers and logging my food for years and years and years. I advocate it as the best way to lose weight, gain weight, transform your body. That's the simplest tool. I don't know why people don't do it, but it is extremely beneficial. Now, all that being said, I already knew what my numbers were. I really wanted to see whether this machine was accurate or not, because I was super skeptical. I'm not going to lie. I was like, this is just going to be a load of crap. It's going to give me a generic algorithm, so on and so forth. And I knew, hey, Becky, I knew that if I want to lose weight, I need to consume less than 2,400 calories, okay? And most of you are like, holy cow, you can eat a lot of food and still lose weight. And I can, and the reason I can is because I've been doing strength training my entire life, literally from the age of 12. I've been logging my food basically since the age of 25. And so my metabolic rate is really, really high because I have built the foundation of muscle, okay? And muscle is the primary driver when it comes to your resting metabolic rate or your base metabolic rate, whichever term you want to use, okay? Now, so I knew that machine should say, for me to lose weight, I need to consume 2,400 calories. Hi, Nikki. And I knew when I gain weight, if I get to around 3,000, 3,100 calories, I start to gain weight, okay? And so I did this test, and here's some negatives of this test is you don't realize how hard it is to swallow when you have the tube in your mouth and all this saliva is building up. Your mouth gets really dry. And like for the last 2 minutes, I was attempting not to gag. Okay, full disclosure there. And then like the saliva is building up. You're trying not to drool. And Kathleen was nice enough to advise me of this. And she put some napkins. So like if you do start drooling all over, you can like wipe it, but you can't take your mouth off this thing. Anyway, once I took the test, the numbers that she gave me, I should go grab the report, was 2,405 calories is what her machine said I needed to consume to lose weight. So almost like 5 calories off from what I said, right? And I rounded my numbers. So really, really close regardless. And it said I needed to gain weight, I needed to consume more than 3,120 calories. So about 20 calories difference from what I had annotated. And to say I was shocked was pretty impressive. And my resting metabolic rate for a 40-year-old male who is 6'2", 225, my resting metabolic rate is 13% higher than the average person, which is awesome. Now, I say all that to say, okay, protein. Why do we need protein at every meal? This is why, or how do you do that? One of the biggest struggles most of our clients have, either nutrition clients who I have online all over the world, or who we have at Just You Fitness who do the training and the nutrition, is hitting that protein number, okay? And the easiest way to hit that protein number is, let's say it's 100. Let's keep it really easy because I'm not the best at math, especially in my head. Dylan is a genius at doing math in his head. I am not. Let's say your number is 100 grams. Okay, if you need 100 grams of protein throughout the day and you eat 3 meals, you're going to divide 100 by 3, 33.3333 at each meal. So what you do is you make protein the star. Create 3 meals the day before, or just think about what you're going to consume. And before you eat it, log it in MyFitnessPal, the Just You Fitness app, whatever you're using. Log it in there and make sure you're hitting that number, whatever that number is. And ideally, you want 1 gram. Optimal is 1 gram of protein per pound of your body weight. However, for most people, that's really, really hard. The next thing you do is 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass. Most people, you don't have the data to actually know what your lean body mass is. So third, this is what I tell most people to start with, is 1 gram of protein per pound of your target weight. So regardless whether you're trying to gain weight, lose weight, what's your target weight? If your target weight's 150, 150 grams is what you're trying to hit, okay? And then just divide that by however many meals you have. And then the typical first like pushback I get from people on that is like, and it's funny, but I get it. They're like, is that safe? And then my typical response is, well, you ate like how many grams of carbohydrate? If you eat 300 grams of carbohydrates, is that safe? I mean, I don't know. Like that milkshake you just had, it has 150, 200 grams of carbs and probably 60, 80 grams of fat. Is that safe? And they're like, I mean, it's not dangerous. Okay, protein, it's just a macronutrient, just like fats, just like carbohydrates. The only thing is, it's way more beneficial when you're strength training, and it's going to do way less damage to your body than the stinking sugar and the carbohydrates. Sugar, carbohydrates, somewhat synonymous. Are there better carbohydrates than others? Yes, but that's kind of a rabbit trail. Okay, so yes, consuming 200, 300 grams of protein is not bad for you. Now, just remember what I said as far as the targets go. Now, why should you be eating this much? It has a satisfaction guarantee. Okay, there's 4 reasons basically that I'm going to talk about. Okay, protein keeps you fuller longer and it reduces snacking cravings. Most of us habitually snack and eat mindlessly because we do not consume enough protein. Protein is super satiating, okay? It's going to make you not want to snack if you consume adequate amounts, okay? The second thing is it's a metabolic furnace. So what that means is protein enhances your metabolic activity. It burns more calories during it digests. The fancy term for that is TEF, the thermic effect of food. So if you eat 100 calories worth of protein, your body is only going to absorb 80 or 70% of those 100 calories because your body's using the rest to digest it. So protein, just changing, let's just say you ate 50% more protein, you're gonna burn more calories. It's gonna be like you jogged for 30 minutes if that's all you did, okay? Except your body habitually is gonna do it, and it's gonna be beneficial, you're gonna recover. Now, the third thing is it's a muscle keeper. Protein preserves your muscle mass, specifically during a weight loss cut. So to lose weight, you need to be in a caloric deficit. You need to consume less calories than your body needs. And which is why the higher your metabolism is, the better, because let's say my resting metabolic rate is 2,400. If I eat less than that, I'm going to lose weight. Unfortunately, for most people who've been yo-yo dieting or who've done gastric bypass or who've done starvation diets, their resting metabolic rate was, let's say, once 2,400, but because they starved themselves, because they didn't do resistance training, and because they weren't consuming adequate amounts of protein, their resting metabolic rate, their BMR, went from 2,000, 2,400 or whatever it is to 1,005, 1,002. I asked Kathleen Be Well, when I was doing the metabolic test, what's the worst she saw? And she said 400. Say that's what happens. Now, how do you prevent that happening when you're in a caloric deficit? You do a strength training enough, you consume enough protein. Because while you're in a caloric deficit, your body is going to need more protein so it doesn't start consuming your muscles, okay? Think of it this way. Your body has to recover and adapt. It has to have protein, the amino acids in protein, the building blocks of all things good. And when you don't consume adequate amounts of protein, your body is going to look for other avenues to get it. And if it only has access to the muscle that is on our bodies, what's it going to do? It's going to start eating that. Okay. Plus, here's the thing that your body thinks: I'm going to get I'm going to get the protein I need to recover. 2, I'm going to lower my resting metabolic, my BMR, my metabolism, and thus I won't need as much protein. But long term, this is going to hurt you, because then if your body's going to get used to eating less and less, and then when you try to let's say you reach your target weight and you try to go back up, what's going to happen? You consume hardly any food and you're going to gain weight really, really fast, which is then you have to introduce. Now, is there a way to fix that? Yes, it's called a reverse diet, but that's for another different time. If you're curious on that, you can hit me up later or ask me about it. All right. So all that to say is muscle, it's a muscle keeper. Okay. And then the fourth thing is a blood sugar balancer. Protein helps manage blood sugar and your insulin levels. Okay. So insulin is a super important, super essential hormone. And a lot of the clients that we get are either pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic. All right. And what you want, if you know what AC1 levels are, You've probably had talked with your doctor. You're insulin resistant. Protein helps regulate that. When you consume protein and even fats in this sense, it does not mess much with your blood sugar levels, with your insulin spikes. If you consume a lot of carbohydrates that your body isn't going to use or needs, it spikes your insulin levels. And if you aren't burning those carbohydrates that get stored as glycogen in your muscles, your insulin gets the carbohydrates and it starts storing it as fat. When your fat cells get full, it starts storing it in your liver and in your organs. And that's where it becomes a super big problem and can lead to type 2 diabetes. And that's when it ultimately it kills you. And especially in the North America, when we consume gobs of processed trash, it happens more and more and more. So the beautiful thing about protein, if you consume the right amounts, it is going to help regulate your blood sugar, okay? Which, if you just do, if people just did that, it would save hundreds, if not thousands of lives just because of the stinking type 2 diabetes. So this is a caveat. I worked as a chaplain at Wake Med, specifically in the type 2 diabetic ward, okay? And I got so sick and tired of seeing this day in and day out. People would come in with type 2 diabetes, okay? They would get coached on what to do. Whether it was good coaching or not isn't the point. They would get told, at least informed, hey, if you don't change the way you eat and the lifestyle, this is going to kill you. They wouldn't do it. They'd keep drinking their sodas, like gobs of it. They'd keep eating a whole bunch of sugar. They wouldn't change what they ate. 2-3 months later, they'd come in and then they'd have to start taking dialysis. And then they're like, I don't have time. I have to spend 2 hours in dialysis. Then they stinking get a stub toe or some nick on their foot. It gets infected. Okay, it goes gangrene because the blood in their body isn't circulating because they have type 2 diabetes as well as it should be. We got to cut off the toe. No big deal. It's a toe. Okay, they cut off the toe. 3 months later, hey, the toe infection's back. We need to take your foot. The foot sucks. Now you can't even move anymore. And typically they're morbidly obese. Okay, then it goes to their knee. About the time it gets to their thigh or their hip, they typically ended up dying. And I still hate seeing that over and over and over again. And type 2 diabetes is something that is 100% preventable. Okay? And that does get me a little bit fired up because it's 100% preventable. And it just comes down to, really, all is we have to control this. Is our love for food and sugar, is that more important? Kenna, come here. She just walked up here. Is it more important than the people who are going to be around for us? Your kids and your grandkids. I was once 308 pounds. The reason I changed...
Daddy was fat.
Thank you, Kenna. The reason I wanted to change is I did not want to be a bleacher dad. I wanted to make sure I was going to be able to provide and be present for my kids and my grandkids. And I hope you all have that same mentality. All right? Now, the other, I think this is the last thing on the docket, is myth, the aging metabolism. Okay, so your metabolism does slow down as we age, but that doesn't mean weight gain is inevitable. Proper diet, regular exercise, and good sleep habits can make sure your metabolism is firing at any age. There's some things that we cannot control when it comes to our metabolism. Aging, it is going to slow down a little bit, but not as much as it is propagated. You have much more control over what your metabolism does over what you don't versus what you don't. So the number one tip I have to keeping your metabolism going is just keep moving, okay? I am a super advocate of finding a sport or some activity that you love. I love Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, okay? I'm not saying you need to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but maybe it's tennis, maybe it's pickleball, maybe it's hiking. Whatever it is, find something that's relatively active that you're going to habitually do a couple times of a week. It can be with your kids or you can do it alone. And just being active is going to help increase your metabolism, okay? The second thing is cherish your muscle, okay? As we age, if you are not doing strength training, you are going to lose muscle mass. So you don't need to strength train every stinking day. I already talked about that earlier. But 30-minute sessions a week is going to do wonders for keeping your muscle mass. And if you've never done strength training, even increasing your muscle mass, which is going to increase your metabolism. So keep it simple. Okay, do strength training, do yourself a huge favor. You're going to thank me when you're 80 and you can still play with your kids. All right. And the third thing is protein up. I've already listed, hey Lisa, hey Jay, hey Derek, I've already listed all the reasons before why protein is so important. I'll go through the targets one more time. 1 gram at the beginning, 1 gram for your target weight or even your current weight is going to help you maintain and stay where you need to be. And ideally spread it out through the day, okay? And then 4, adapt to have a healthy lifestyle, okay? Aging naturally slows down your cellular metabolism, but a balanced lifestyle, including good sleep, stress management, regular activity, strength training, what I mentioned, and a wholesome diet. And when I say wholesome diet, I mean whole foods-based diet, okay? I do not think carbohydrates are the enemy. I do think protein is a magical, I know I talk about protein all the time, and it's not because I think it's better or more magical than carbohydrates or fats, but I think that is the one thing that we do not get enough of, that if we just did that, let's just say we didn't even count calories. If most people just made sure they did that, people would lose weight and be healthy and look great, if that's all they did. So anyway, and so that is all I had planned for today. If anybody has any questions, you can drop them in the comments below. I'll hang out for another 2 or 3 minutes, or I'll answer as many questions as you have. So if you have some, go ahead and drop them. If not, thank you so much for tuning in and listening. I do appreciate it. Losing weight, fitness, everything has been my passion since I was 12. So I do think it's a gift God has given me, and I'm just glad I get to do it. So if there's any questions, go ahead and drop them. I will set the timer. If not, and don't be shy. And if not, I will peace out. First question, how are you? Thank you, Derek. I am doing pretty good. This weekend, the first 3 weeks prior to this have been nuts and super busy and crazy. But this was the first weekend where I had probably 8 to 10 hours where I could actually chill and kind of relax, and it felt absolutely awesome. So before I came up here, my dad and I were watching, there's a Netflix documentary it's called Quarterbacks. It follows Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and I can't say his name, but the quarterback for Atlanta. And it was super awesome. But okay, fantastic. Any other questions? Love Cuba. We've already watched it. Okay. Yeah, see, I hardly ever get to watch TV because I'm always running around and busy. But I've heard it's great. But I heard it is great. All right. So speaking, this is the 2-minute warning if you're a football fan. What team do you root for, Derek? I am a huge Panthers fan, which means I do not have a lot to celebrate most years. But there's always this year, right?
WWE Legends are on.
It's on at 8, man.
I know, but there's other ones before that.
Oh, so WWE Legends, Axel just informed me, is coming on soon at 8.
It's right now, Dad.
Well, go ahead and turn on. I think it's just the pregame stuff.
Yeah, it's the pregame stuff.
All right. Go Bills. Oh, my word, Gretchen. So, okay, Gretchen, you're going to hate me for this. So before we moved to Brazil, this was in the era of, thanks, Randy. This was in the era when the Bills lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. I was a Bills fan, and after that 4th time, right before we moved to Brazil, I was a quitter. I quit on the Bills. That's when we lived in Montana. Yeah, Mahomes is awesome. Yeah, well, I hope, yeah, we'll see if he helps or not, Mike. I sure hope he does, because it has been miserable. But, all right, guys. Well, I am going to peace out. I know, Mike, I cheer for the Panthers. Definitely no bandwagon. The way I do, I was wherever I'm local is the team I kind of cheer from. So, unfortunately, but yes, no, that criticism is valid. I will not. But you've stuck with it. You guys have an awesome team, and I hope the Bills do well. All right, see you guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a great week. Bye.